Back with this week's social story. How this works is we post 3 stories on social media and let you pick one for us to take a closer look at. These are the choices this week. The shooting death of Last Chance U football coach John Beam, the latest on a tick-related death of a meat allergy, and should you drive or fly for Thanksgiving? And with 42% of the vote, you guys really wanted to learn about this tick-related meat death. The first man, apparently this ever happened to, a man from New Jersey, believed to be the first documented death from alpha-gal syndrome. It's a meat allergy caused by tick bites. So according to the Journal of Allergy and Clinical Immunology, the man became violently ill during a camping trip last year after eating steak. The first time he recovered, and then he got seriously ill again after eating meat 2 weeks later and died. They're called Lone Star ticks, apparently. They're found mostly in the eastern part of the U.S., but their population is spreading. Oh, so let's bring in Dr. Jennifer Miao. She's a board-certified cardiologist and a part of our med unit here at ABC News. So, Dr. Miao, what can you tell us about this alpha-gal syndrome?
Thank you for having me here. Unfortunately, this is really the first recorded fatality from alpha-gal syndrome. Alpha-gal syndrome is a potentially serious type of allergic illness that can happen after an individual develops a tick bite or has a tick bite or multiple tick bites, and then they become allergic to other alpha-gal containing products, such as red meat. And so when they consume this red meat, they then ramp up this initial allergic response that they got from their tick bite, and it can cause potentially very serious, potentially even fatal allergic reaction in the form of anaphylaxis, which is very, very life-threatening for sure.
So what happens when somebody gets...
Alpha-gal is a type of... Sorry.
Yeah, real quick. So what happens when somebody gets bitten by a Lone Star tick? Yeah, I mean, like, is it immediate? Can you pluck it off? Do you still have time? How's all this work?
Exactly. So it's really important to watch out for tick bites, especially when you guys are, going outdoors and hiking around. It's very important to remove the tick as soon as you see it. Alpha-gal syndrome can cause symptoms like nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, GI upset, rash. It has this very characteristic sort of hive rash that you can develop with this heightened immunologic response. Lone Star ticks can also be responsible for a variety of other illnesses, tick-borne illnesses, and these also include, ehrlichiosis and other sort of more widespread systemic symptoms, nausea, vomiting, headache, and there's also like a very characteristic type of rash with it. People can also develop generalized weakness, especially for those with immunocompromised status. So for individuals whose immune systems are already weakened, their responses can actually even be more serious, which can lead to respiratory failure, aka difficulty breathing, as well as a variety of neurological issues.
So we know that the tick numbers are rising, especially in the east. What should people watch out for?
Yeah, so the Lone Star tick is certainly something that's becoming more prevalent. As you mentioned before, it's typically found in the southeastern, eastern United States, but there are even case reports of it in Delaware, for instance. And so it's really important to pay attention to ticks when you are outdoors, which can be found in your backyard, on hiking trails, really any sort of woodsy area. Before going outdoors, make sure that your arms are covered up, that your legs are covered up. You can also even pre-treat your clothing with permethrin, which is an anti-tick repellent. And then also be sure to just check your pets for ticks as well when you guys are coming home after a walk. That's the best way to keep you and your loved ones safe.
Do they look any different than a typical tick? I mean, how do you know if you're being bitten by I don't know, like a typical tick or a usual tick versus this thing?
Yeah, so I think, a Lone Star tick, it does have a sort of like a starry appearance, but any sort of tick, it doesn't really matter. I mean, any sort of tick bite can really just make a lot of individuals feel a little bit bad, and that can also cause a rash. So it doesn't really matter. Just pull it off immediately as soon as you see it.
But should you collect it? Should you bring it with you to the doctor's office? I mean, with this thing, it's pretty scary. When you pull off a tick, should you try and keep it to show the doctor?
Scary. Yeah, it is pretty scary. It's not part of the recommendations to try to keep it in a goodie bag or something, but a lot of people do. But it's very important to know that, to record the history of when you got the tick bite. That way you can talk to your doctor if you were to develop symptoms later on. That way you can add that to the history and say, just, a week or so ago or a few days ago, I noticed that I was, I pulled a tick off my leg, or I pulled a tick off my dog. And now I'm coming in with like this rash and headache and very non-specific symptoms. And so that can really help doctors hone in on the diagnosis.
Dr. Jennifer Miao, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.